Today we are going to talk about the releases that I am looking forward to that are coming out in April, May, and June. So let's get into it. Hi, my name is Jeanette and I want to thank you for joining me on the channel Jane Rees. So today I'm going to talk about the releases that are upcoming for the next 3 months, April, May, and June, that I am most excited about. My list for this period is longer than last month's and longer than most, or last quarter, and longer than most I try to keep them at. So there's a lot coming up that I can't wait for. There goes my book budget if I buy them new. So the very first book comes out March the 30th. I know, I'm talking about April releases and here I'm talking about a March book. But I did not find out about this book until last week when I received a newsletter from Karen Whitmire. And apparently it hadn't been announced until this newsletter release. So it was like, okay. But as soon as I saw it, I was so excited. I'm like, oh, I need to pre-order this and get this. And there's two reasons that I was very, very excited about it. One is it's Karen Whitmire. And the second reason I will share in a little bit later, and you'll know why. Okay, so the book is called In Her Sights, and it is book 1 of the Pink Pistol Sisterhood series. So directly from Karen's newsletter, she says, I'm teaming up with my blogging buddies at Petticoats and Pistols to launch a multi-author sweet Western romance series called The Pink Pistol Sisterhood. Each story centers around a legendary pistol once owned by Annie Oakley that passes from woman to woman from 1893 to contemporary times. My novella kicks off the series with the pistol's origin story along with a romantic adventure with Tessa James from A Tailor-Made Bride and Jackson Spivey from Stealing the Preacher. Here's a teaser blurb for In Her Sights. Tessa James secretly loves Jackson Spivey, but trying to gain his favor only pushes him away. Since Jackson's life revolves around guns, Tessa decides to take up shooting. Seeking lessons from famed markswoman Annie Oakley provides more than technique instruction, however. Tessa comes away with a pistol that will change the course of her life forever. I am so excited. I love Western stories and historical Westerns especially. And it's Karen Whitmire. I am definitely pre-ordering this book and it comes out March 30th. Okay, so April the 4th, 4 for the 4th, is book number 9 of the Hope Harbor series, and it is Windswept Way by Irene Hannon. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I am working my way through the Hope Harbor series in hopes of catching up to get to book 8 so that I can read book 9 when it comes out. I've only read books 1 and 2, like a reread so far, so April 4th, 6 more books for the month of March. Not going to happen because I have other books on my list. So I have some time on this one. So this one is a contemporary romance set in the fictional town of Hope Harbor that I've gotten to know over the course of the previous books. And so I'm really looking forward to going back to this town. And from what I understand, we meet characters that we haven't met before. I don't really know a lot about it, but this is what the blurb says. Buying a haunted house was never in Ashley Scott's plans, but when an intriguing opportunity drops in her lap after a major setback, she finds herself trekking across country to Hope Harbor on the Oregon coast to launch a new life. Wounded warrior Jonathan Gray isn't sure what to make of the attractive woman on his reclusive older neighbor's isolated property, but her presence is none of his business until she enlists his help with an ambitious project. When Jonathan finds his interest in the new arrival becoming more personal than professional, however, his defenses go up. There is no room in his life or his heart for romance. Yet, as these three hurting people join forces to restore life, laughter, and love to a historic estate that has known too much sadness. They also find healing, hope, and happiness for themselves. I am really intrigued about that one. Okay, then on April the 10th, The Broken Hearts Bakery by Carla Laureano is released. This is a contemporary romance, and it is starting a new series called Haven Ridge. And it says, sometimes the town that broke your heart is the only place that can heal you. So it talks about when Gemma left her hometown of Haven Ridge, Colorado. She swore she would never return. And she's kept that promise, leaving old shadows behind and building her reputation as one of LA's prominent family law attorneys. But when her lifelong best friend begs Gemma to come stay with her teen stepdaughter while she's on a business trip, she doesn't have the heart to refuse. She'll simply keep a low profile, do her honorary aunt duties for Taylor, and be gone before anyone notices. But Haven Ridge seems to have a mind of its own, and before she knows it, Gemma finds herself caught up with new friends and old rivalries. When Taylor is targeted by teen bullies, Gemma does the only thing she knows how to do: ply her honorary niece with baked goods and words of affirmation. Soon her temporary lodgings are ground zero for teenage girls seeking sugar and consolation for shocking adult problems, which the girls soon dub the Broken Hearts Bakery. I have fallen in love with Carla Laureano's writing and the characters and the depth of the characters. I can't wait to read this one. And this cover is gorgeous. As soon as I saw the cover, it was like, ooh, what's that book? And then when I saw who it was by, I was like, well, okay, add to list. Okay, so now, also on April 10th, is another book that I will be pre-ordering. And this goes back to the book I was talking about with Karen Whitmire, because both these books were announced on the same day, and this is why I was so excited. It is Love on Target by Shanna Hatfield. And this is book 2 of the Pink Pistol series. So it picks up from Karen Whitmire's books with the Annie Oakley Gunn story. And so from what I understand from this series, it starts in 1893 and then kind of moves through generations up to contemporary. So Shanna's, because it's book 2, it is still historical. And it says it is set in Holiday, Oregon, which is one of Shanna's fictional towns that she's created in another series. And it says, a pistol, a mule, and a promised mining job lure Rena Burke to Oregon. She might wear trousers and work with men, but Rena secretly longs to be appreciated as a woman. Too bad the man she admires believes her to be a dangerous influence on his young daughter. I'm so excited about this one. As soon as I saw that those two were announced, it was like, click, click. Please. Yes. Let's move on to May the 2nd. May the 2nd is another contemporary romance, and it is The Secret to Happiness by Suzanne Woods Fisher. This is book 2 of her Cape Cod Creamery series. Book 1 came out last May. I have not read it yet, but I do have it on my shelf. This cover, I love this cover. I don't know, it's so different for me, which is not one of my typical covers that I kind of fall for, but I really like this cover. So it says, Callie Dixon has the world by its tail until it all slipped away. Fired from her dream job after making a colossal mistake, she's escaped to her aunt's home on Cape Cod for time to bounce back. Except it isn't home, it's an ice cream shop. And time isn't going to help because Callie's bounce has up and left. There's a reason she made that mistake at work, and she's struggling to come to terms with it. Things go from bad to worse when Callie's cousin Dawn drags her to a community class about the secret to happiness. Happiness is the last thing Callie wants to think about right now. But instructor Bruno Bianca, a curiously gloomy fellow, is relentless. He has a way of turning Callie's thoughts upside down, her feelings too. Could Bruno be right when he says that hitting rock bottom is the very best place to be? If so, how is that supposed to help her find exactly what or who has been missing all along? Sounds like it's going to be another emotional read, and I'm here for it. Yes. Okay, so then on June the 6th comes Double Amenity by Robert Whitlow. So I talked about this one in my book haul video, so I did receive a NetGalley ARC for this one. So I'm not really going to say much about it because I just talked about that the very last video. It is a mystery legal with legal themes. And so it just basically says, when a young entrepreneur dies from a gunshot wound on a hunting trip, his marriage counselor and his wife's divorce attorney begin to investigate just who stands to gain from his death. So I will be reading that one because I have the advanced reader copy of it. Okay, then also on June 6th is Fairest of Heart by Karen Whitmire. This is a historical romance. It's book number 1 of a new series called the Texas Ever After series. And it is an enchanting Western take on the classic Snow White fairy tale. Fairest of the Heart will sweep you away from once upon a time to happily ever after. So basically, I don't really need to know much about this book. It's a Karen Whitmire book. Of course I'm going to get it. So yes. And that was the one that I knew was coming out. So the one that she's releasing through an indie publisher on March the 30th was a shock and a surprise and a nice little treat. Okay, so on June 13th, we have The Happy Life of Isadora Bentley by Courtney Walsh. This is another contemporary romance, and I have an advanced reader copy of this one as well. So I will be reading this one for sure. And, this one sounds very similar to The Broken Hearts No, not The Broken Hearts. The Secret to Happiness. So it says, she's out to prove that there's no such thing as choosing happiness. Isadora Bentley follows the rules. She likes things just so. She believes that happiness is something that flat out doesn't exist in her life and never will. As a university researcher, Isadora keeps to herself as much as possible. She avoids the students she's supposed to befriend and mentor. She stays away from her neighbors and lives her own quiet, organized apartment. And she will never get involved in a romantic relationship again, especially with another academic. It will just be Isadora and her research forever. But on her 30th birthday, Isadora does something completely out of character. The young woman who never does anything on a whim makes an impulse purchase of a magazine featuring a silly article detailing 31 ways to be happy, which includes everything from smiling at strangers to exercising for endorphins to giving in to your chocolate cravings. Isadora decides to create her own secret research project, proving the writer of the ridiculous piece wrong. As Isadora gets deeper into her research, she meets a handsome professor along the way. She's stunned to discover that maybe, just maybe, she's proving herself wrong. Perhaps there's actually something to this happiness concept, and possibly there's something to be said for loosening up and letting life take you somewhere happy. I don't know, that intrigues me. And wow, the happiness theme in 2 books. So yes, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, 8. That's not bad. I mean, I think I only had 4 last month or last quarter, but yeah. But really, I don't have any romantic suspense. Wow, I just realized that. A lot of contemporary romance. And a few historical that I can't wait for. So yes, so those are the books that I am excited about, that I will be looking to pick up. As I said, I already have 2 of them as advanced reader copies. I will be pre-ordering 2 of them. So that's 4. So that's 4 others that I will be on the lookout for. So yeah. Is there any releases coming up in the next quarter that I didn't mention that you can't wait for? I'd love to chat in the comments below. Just let me know. And I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video today. And if you like this content, I would love it if you would like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.